Hello! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is Sunday afternoon. You know what that means. It's time for the show that asks what the hell is going on in the depths of space. Welcome to the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan, the only show that takes a look at what the hell is going on with Project Red. And there is a summer happenings happening in the world of Project Red. Kind of an interesting development, if I were to put it bluntly. So I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but in my head, I had a personal assumption that Project Red was just Gavan, right? Like Gavan. It was just gonna be Gavan, right? Like Gavan Infinity ends, and then we get another iteration of Gavan that kind of calls back to the previous one, kind of like how Ultraman does, right? But no, what we're getting is something that still happens within the same universe, but is not Gavan. I don't remember the full name of it. Let me look it up just to be certain. Project Red. Yeah, toy. I'm trying to find it. So, the new one, which I think goes into like showing that it's not Metal Heroes, is because this is actually a new IP. It's not an existing one. It's something totally new. But Gavan has a role in it, if that makes any sense. Right? Like I'm trying to find it. Like I saw it, like somebody mentioned it, but I forgot what exactly it was called. It was, what was it? I'm trying not to run into spoilers. But I know the name was like, oh, Omega Horn. It's called Horn Awakening Hunter Omega Horn? I think something like that. And it's supposed to be starting in July. Awakening Hunter Omega Horn. That's a new... that's what's coming after Gavan Infinity. And it's not based on anything. Like, I looked this up. There is no Awakening Hunter series. There is no Omega Horn series. This is a new IP. Which is, if you're asking me, that's kind of a ballsy move. It's a ballsy move that they would even consider, hey, okay, we did Gavan. We did a cool nod to Gavan. Let's now just throw something completely off the rails. Something we've never done before. Something original. And that's what Omega Horn is. And it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy just how... like the dichotomy going from, okay, let's try to revive an established IP to, nah, let's just do something completely new and different. And it's kind of crazy to think about, right? And apparently the way Omega Horn is going to be is it's a monster series. Yeah, it's a Tokusatsu themed monster collector. Kind of like Gotchard. But apparently the way it's being sold, apparently the suit, there's no visual on the suit, but they describe it as Go Busters meets X-Aid, which, okay, I see where you're going with it. Well, even though there's no visual, I kind of get the sense of where you're going with it. But there's like several monsters that Omega Horn can summon. There's a list of them right here in terms of what the products are for the toys. It's kind of crazy that they're already, like they're making it like a For those of y'all who don't know, Project Red is supposed to be like the MCU of Tokusatsu. Like that's the whole thing. That's the thought process behind it. But I question the how do I put this? I question the wisdom or the decisions behind making each series a short series and then having them intermingle. Because at this point, like if we're looking at Gavan Infinity in a vacuum as it exists now, there's really no reason for us to want to see him again. You know? Right? Like there's no real incentive. And it's hard for me to say that because Gavan Infinity is the first series. But like as it stands right now, there really isn't an incentive for us to want to see him again. If that makes any sense. Right? Like the new series is kind of like better off just kind of like hanging out on its own. Unless Gavan is going to like do some shit that he couldn't do in his show, which I don't even know how that would work. Right? I feel like there's not a lot of intermingling going on here. There isn't really a lot of nuance? I don't know if nuance is the right word. But there's definitely something missing here in the grand scheme of things as to what makes a good crossover universe. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think this is it. Right? Because in order for things to cross over, you have to make us want to see these things cross over. And so far, their methodology of approaching it is, we're giving you Gavan, but we're not giving you our best foot forward. And then we're going to give you a Mega Horn, and then Gavan's going to show up in it. And it's like, yeah, but are you giving us a reason for us to want to see Gavan and Omega Horn? Like, you know? Well, I'm not saying that, like, we don't like Gavan. Like, Gavan Infinity has been pretty okay for the most part, you know? It's harmless, but it's a nice bit of fun, but it's not like... You can't really compare it to anything else because I feel like it's an unfair comparison. People who are comparing this to... And to be fair, I've been guilty of it, right? I've compared this show unfairly to Gozyuger, to Zets, to anything else, but like... I feel like it's an unfair comparison because, like, I wouldn't even put these on the same level, right? I'm not, like, Gavan Infinity is not as great as Zets, but it's not as bad as Gozyuger. Like, so I feel like those comparisons are unfair, despite the fact that I myself have also made them. But Gavan exists in this middle ground where it's like, it's harmless, it's a good bit of fun, but the staying power is kinda right? Like, the staying power is still kind of up in the air in terms of what it can do. But right now, it's just more like a mindless watch, right? I coined the term feel-good toku because that's literally what it is, but feel-good tokus don't have a lot of staying power, if I'm being honest. They're very serviceable for what they are in the moment, but then, like, afterward in the long term, they don't really, like, contribute to the grand scheme of things. So my question would be that at that point, like, if the show hasn't really done much to want us to see him again, why would we want to see him again in Omega Horn, right? Why would we want to see Gavan in Omega Horn if Gavan hasn't really given us much, to get into the character, right? It hasn't given us much to, like, get in and have a more deeper investment. Because right now, the investment of the common Toku viewer is, pretty colors and pretty action. That's pretty much it. Lore has been kind of this thing that has been kind of sporadic, here in and here out, and really has not really contributed to the overall viewing experience of Gavan Infinity. So that being said, at this point in time, would we even feel comfortable, like, putting time into Gavan? Or more importantly, how would we feel about, if this is like how it's going to be for the rest of the series, then what motivation is there for us to want to see Gavan in Omega Horn once Omega Horn comes out, right? Will there be too much of a reliance in Gavan in Omega Horn? Or will Omega Horn be allowed to breathe on his own? And Gavan is just kind of there, like, questions like these. At the end of the day, like, I feel like maybe it's too early to be making this assessment. But then again, it's super early for the series to have even... The fact that the new series is already out when there's still, like, maybe 13 or more episodes to go. I don't know if that's telling, but it's definitely odd, to say the least. Like, there's definitely just... It doesn't even feel like we've actually made it through the show, because, again, we're not used to Tokusatsu shows being less than 50 episodes. So this literally feels like we haven't even scratched the surface of Gavan, but in reality, we're at the halfway point. So it's this weird position that we're in that is odd. It doesn't really make a lot of sense in the grand scheme, It feels kind of off, if I'm being, like, 100% with you. To the point that I don't really know, like, how to feel, right? I don't really know how to, like, feel that we already know the next installment in Project Red, but at a point where we feel like we're just scratching the surface of Gavan, but in reality, we're actually halfway through the series. I feel like maybe anime watchers probably would feel differently, but as a Toku guy who's literally sat through series that went up to 50 episodes, that literally took up an entire year, the fact that this series is ending in 3 months, and we've only had it for, like, 2 and some change, Like, the series started in February, and we're in May. Like, it hasn't even been a full 3 months. So it just feels weird to be in this position. But, maybe I'm talking out of my ass. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm just, like, overanalyzing. And I should try to, like, take it more as it comes, I feel like it would benefit me more to just kind of, like, take it all in as it comes and just, try to be a little bit more open-minded. But, there's a part of me that is, like, still struggling to adjust to all this. It's super strange. But, hopefully, answers shall prevail and whatnot. But I think that's a better speculation for later down the line. I think what we need to do now is get into today's episode. So let's go ahead and head over to the patented Henshin Cinemas and let us get ready to partake in some goodness. All right. All right. So here we are in the movie room where the magic happens. Let us go ahead and get ready. Let's get started with this new episode. Now that Kamen Rider Shinobi, now that Gavan Ninja Ray, yeah, Gavan Raya, Space Sheriff Gavan Raya. Now that he's in the scene, he's going to be traveling to other dimensions. So we are about to have a confrontation between a samurai and a shinobi, as Raya is going to meet our boy Luminous. And we're going to see how that pans out as the lore starts slowly but surely creeping in with Black Gavan and the involvement um, of the crime organization from the last episode, mirroring Black Gavan's sentiments. There seems to be something deeper at the heart of all this. Will we find out more in today's episode? Hell if I know, but we won't learn until we hit play. So here we go, folks. Space Sheriff Gavan, episode 12. Let's go.
全ての次元には僕みたいに銀河の深きところに住まう偉大なるお方に共鳴した奴が大勢いる。
古着屋の最後の言葉が気になるな。銀河の深きところに住まう何者なのか。
もっと多くのギャバンが力を合わせなければその敵には勝てない。必要なのは仲間。
Oh! Kunai's gonna be the guy that builds the dream! He's gonna be the one that builds the team! The door is right there, you fuckhead!
今日もドアを開けないのか。
Meanwhile, on Lambda 8018. Oh!
私の気配に気づかないなんて気が抜けてるんじゃない？
本部長、戯れよ。
何か悩んでる？誰かに話すことで解決の糸口が見えることもあるかもしれないわ。
前にレイジ殿とアギ殿に言われたのです。
I feel like I know who that girl woman is. Did she not play Sabala?
感情が備わっている証拠なのだと。
確かに人造人間であるあなたが長く人や異星人と触れ合ってきたことで感情が芽生えるケースがあるのかもしれない。
Finding his own emotions.
やってみたいことがあります。
What do you want to try? Is this gonna be cheese? Please don't be cheese. God, that door rider is fucking awesome.
Tamanegi.
人は玉ねぎを切ると涙が出ると聞きました。
やってみたかったことって何？
Okay. It's not as cheesy as I thought it would be.
感情というものに憧れ、笑顔や怒りは表情で表すことができるようになりました。されど、物理的に涙だけは流せない。
Why do you want to be sad, you fucker?
そのような機能が備わってはいないのです。
あなたが作られた戦場では必要なかったから。
故にそれがしは涙にこそ強い憧れがあり。
Okay, there's better ways to go about this.
思いましたが、やはり出ないか。
What are you gonna do with all these onions?
されば、目だけではなく、鼻の粘膜への刺激も。
Do not do something stupid. Please do not do something stupid.
次。
Yep. I thought he was gonna actually shove his face into the onions.
レイジ殿はあくびをして涙をにじませていた。
Yeah, this is a little disturbing.
次
What? He's trying too hard, man.
ジ・アースパーキングシリーズの中でも最強炭酸の地獄。文字通り口の中が地獄になるから覚悟なさい。
How strong are we talking? No, it just killed him.
やはりそれがしに涙を流すことは叶わぬのか。
What's in that?
生理的反応より感情を高ぶらせることに挑戦してみたら、その方が人間らしいかも。
かくなる上は
What is he doing? I don't understand the logic.
ここだな。
There's a workshop to how to cry in 3.
何やつ壁から現れるとは面用な。通り抜けるのが礼儀。そこに良き壁があるなら。良き手触り。
Sir!
不可解な。
ワークショップにお集まりの皆さん、中へどうぞ。
それがしは大事があるので失礼する。以後壁を通り抜けるときは前方を抜かるな。
Oh, god damn it. The fact that that workshop even actually exists is fucking
お待たせ
weird.
しました。主催のゴーランです。今日はみんなでたくさん涙を流す練習をしましょう。さあ立って。
I can't even look at it. It's so stupid.
体をリラックスさせることで涙が出やすくなります。はい、じゃあちょっと伸びましょう。はい、左。はい、右。はい、脱力。続けて雨乞いのポーズ。これは僕の
But I like it feels like a
風、頭痛、腰痛、
hold up.
ものに効くとされています。さあみんなでリラックス。リラックス。
I can't, man. It's what is this dumb shit?
ご協力感謝する。インフィニティ。
もう来ない。なんでいるんだ。
会いに来た。この宇宙のギャバンに。君は？
ネガ反応を感知したんで出張ってきた。館内を片っ端から調べるつもりだ。
Uh-oh.
聞こえる。すすり泣く声。誰かの。
Huh? Weird workshop in the middle of in random building.
壁抜け。
Can you just use the door?
なあ、本当に。
He had the keys, fuckhead.
行かないでくれ。わしを一人にしないでくれ。
Did we have to cut back?
行かないで。それがしを一人にしないで。
はい。皆さん惜しいですね。これで涙が出れば完璧。
でも難しい。
特別に一番手っ取り早い方法を教えましょう。
そのような秘技があるのか。
自分の中の感情を揺り動かす。
Okay.
そのために必要なのは
Oh, there it is.
を感じることです。ほら、頭の中に見えてくるでしょ。
Ooh. Oh, damn.
すまない。間違い悪かったよ。 感じなさい。大切な人がいなくなること。
He felt nothing.
もっと涙を流しましょう。やめろ。何ですか急に。
そこもとこそ何をした？他者の感情に強引に干渉する行為、断じて許しがたし。
Uh-oh. He figured it out!
休養ができました。ワークショップは一旦中断します。
Get him!
待て、話は終わってない。今助けるからな。どうなってんねん。
Uh-oh. Oh, for fuck's sake.
何をしてる。レイジ殿、刹那。
これは皆ワークショップの参加者のようだ。ここに監禁してたのか。
監禁？僕はちょっと協力してもらってただけ。見られた以上君たちを返すわけにはいかない。
Oh shit!
エモルギア、応酬させてもらう。
And here we go!
あとは私たちの仕事だ。逃げろ、一般人。それがしは一般人ではない。サポモトこそ下がっていろ。誰だか分かってるのか。私が壁抜け名人、または壁愛好家の何がしだろう。なんだと恥じるな。それがしは人様の趣味嗜好。
I shall not meddle in the interest of a...
違う、私は。
You missed your Don't worry about it, Dane. Don't worry about it. Real life comes first.
反応を見失いました。
犯人はネガエモリゲを使いこなしている。風のパワーで自分の痕跡を消してるんだ。
風波流式神。
Origami!
おお、新しい忍法か。同じものが貼ってある。逃亡犯の背中。奴にたどり着く。これを追えば。なんと壁抜け名人、そこもとは。だから私が。同じギャワン同士仲良くしてくれよ。何？君がギャバン。この地球の。行くぞ。
Like, okay, that's a great realization.
ここはアイル、取れたての涙だよ。
ありがとうあなた。
Oh.
少しでごめんよ。でもこれで当分元気になるから。
It's medicine! Okay, that's...
なるほどな。涙はそのものにとって薬の役割を果たすのか。
かわいそうだと思って見逃してくれますか。
そうはいかない。残念ながら。
ムルム人は美しい水がないと生きられないんです。 母船の仲間に稼げると聞いてやっとの思いで地球に来たけど、僕たちにとってここの水は飲めたもんじゃなくて、病弱な妻はすっかり伏せてしまい
Damn,
ま
I
した。
feel bad. I mean, the workshop is cheese in and of itself, but now we know the reason for it, and I'm like, damn, dude.
さようなら。人を閉じ込め、涙を搾取しても良いわけがない。
じゃあどうすればよかったんだ。
妻に死ねって言うのか。
Oh. Oh, shit.
おお、現れたな。レイジ殿、それがしはあのものを。分かった。こっちは任せとけ。
激動。
激動アクティベート。宇宙刑事カバンユニティ、次元を超えて出張中だ。宇宙刑事ギャバンライアー、恐れよ我が風の竜。ギャバニオンセイバー。
I love that his Gavarian saber is more like a dagger. Okay. Look at this and tell me this is not just fun to watch. It's like, it feels very aesthetically pleasing to me.
南大帝の攻撃じゃ通じない。何か手が必要だ。
ギャバリオンレーザー。ただこいつでどうだ。ギャバリオンレーザー。
Nope, not gonna work.
風の竜、火花。
I think it's time for Gavan to pull out the sword, don't you?
もうやめろ。愛する者のため罪を犯したとて、そこもとが苦しむだけだ。
やめるもんかよ。
Oh, Jesus!
僕の気持ちもわかるはずだ。
ワークショップでの君は涙を流すことに強い憧れを持っているように見えた。感情に焦がれる君なら大切な人のために涙を集める気持ちを分かってくれるだろう。
I don't think he would.
切な。
Because that feels like a very deeply... Okay, are we back? Are we back? Okay, I think we're back. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, let's proceed.
市民を守る、治安を守る。それすなわち、それがしのギャバンド。
よく言った。お天道様もにっこりだな。
You saw.
到着。ヒソアクティベート。宇宙刑事ギャバンブシド。マイ。
Our boy Bushido.
それはギャバンシステム発動の頃。
Ah, here we go. That's what I'm talking about.
もう一度見てみよう。乗着コマンドを受けて臨界点を超えたエモルギーがトリガー内に凝縮された。
I'll never get tired of the whole process where they explain electroplating. I'll never get tired of it.
1ミリ秒でコンバットスーツへと投射想定され乗着を完了するのだ。
アクティベート。
Dude, I swear to look, man, the suit design of this show is just so fucking clean. Like, these suits are just so clean, man. And you're telling me we're only getting half of the number of episodes we'd normally get? That just feels like, dude, I want to see these suits more, you know? And it goes with what I was saying about aesthetic. Like, this show is just it's just a really aesthetically pleasing to watch. Hooah! Oh damn! He supercharged him. Dynamic. That goes hard. Dude, that goes hard. Look at that. That fucking goes hard. That goes hard, man. That's beautiful. Again, this series just looks so good to watch, man. It's pleasing to the eyes.
次元を超えるギャバンがもう一人いたとはね。今日はお疲れ様。連続誘拐が表面化する前に解決してよかったわ。
はい。
誰だ。
間に合ったか。
はい、例のもの調達完了です。皆さん、例のものが
アギちゃん What we doing?
実はせつなくん、長い放浪生活でいくつか綺麗な水場を知っていたので、アギたちに教えてくれたんです。そこでブルム星人に最も適した水質基準のお水を見つけ、
Plot contrivance! The Dornator is just fucking great, man.
アギちゃんさすがの機動力。
そういう風に課長が作ったんです。せつなくんの優しい心遣い、超ゲバイですよね。
まあ、これであの二人も地球で生きてけんだろ。
レイジ殿、感謝する。
And we mute for the theme, but man, it's weird, right? It's super weird that, like, this show departs from its main lore point and does these like one-offs. They do these one-off episodes all the time, and yet somehow, like, it doesn't feel insulting, right? It doesn't feel bad that they depart. Like, it just feels, somehow it just feels really good the way they've tackled this. But looking at it in the grand scheme of things, especially if you're building an MCU, I feel like there's like something missing, you know? Like, if we're not telling a coherent story and we're just setting him up to be a start off point, it just feels weird.
喜べギャバン武士道。任命する。君は仲間。凶悪と渡り合うには他のギャバンとの協力が不可欠。君のギャバン道とやら見事だった。
いきなりすぎんだろう。もうちょっとこう説明をだな。
強越至極。宮内殿の忍術も目を見張るものだった。
時に君は知り合いなのか。インフィニティと。
レイジ殿はそれがしのギャバン道の使とも呼べるお方で。
おい、別に俺は師匠でもなんでもねえぞ。
Not really his teacher.
残された歓喜、幻の約束、あの日の約束。ギャバン救出のため、ライアの奥義が炸裂する。次回、超
Oh, damn!
ギャバンインフィニティ。ギャバン誘拐事件。
キキがなんか変。
Whoa, hold up. Can we back up a minute? Can we back up a second? I think we need to back up a second. Hold up. Hold the fuck up. Did I just see a man grow several size? Is it size? Did I just see that? What the fuck? Hold up. Hold the fuck on. Hold the fucketh on. Holdeth the fucketh on. Am I looking at that correctly? Did this man just decide to grow the size of a skyscraper? Explain yourself, son. Just casually grows to the size of a skyscraper. Just casually. Explain. I require explanation. What the fuck? What the absolute shitfest? How? Apparently we're getting another Gavan at some point. I don't know how true that is. Or maybe I'm reading that wrong, but like seriously though, explain this bullshit. Like, is it gonna have a freaking? Is he gonna have a fucking bullshit like thing? I've never known Shinobis to grow large. Actually, you know what? No, I take that back. I think there was one guy in Naruto, but no, actually, no, I don't take that back. I don't think he ever became like a. Did he become a giant? Did Choji ever become a giant? I do not recall. Anyway, but that's the point. That's neither the point. That's neither here nor there. What I was getting at real quick, before I got cut off by the outro scene, right now there is a thing going on right here with Gavan in the sense that it actually does the episodic thing really well, right? Like, you don't feel bad that the lore is missing, though you kind of wish there was more lore. You kind of wish there was more lore, but at the same time, you're not explicitly missing the lore either. Like, it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I feel like it goes back to what I was saying the past couple of weeks, that like the lore has a funny way of just showing up, right? Like, all of these are like isolated incidents that each Gavan deals with, right? These are like isolated incidents that each Gavan deals with. But somehow they still feel like they're tying into an overarching thing, right? Like, it's kind of crazy to me that Rhea is going to be the one to build the team. I thought that was going to be Infinity's gig, right? Because obviously, you think the main character, he's the one starting a team. So I find it a little interesting that one of the side characters, that one of the other Gavans is the one to start this team. I find that that's an interesting little wrinkle. But even then, I don't even like it's interesting that they're having a side guy build the team. The question is, are we going back to the ant planet? Are we going back to the ant planet? Because I feel like the episode where Reiji freaking misses Anki meets Arkiva would be fucking hilarious. Because I feel like that would be a damn good comedy setup. Like, oh, you don't believe the ant world has... You don't believe an ant become... Like, it'll be the same incredulousness that we witnessed the first time we met him. Right? The Ant Planet episode was funny. It really was. It really was. The Ant Planet episode was something else. And I really hope that they actually bring that back. The Phantom Thief episode was a snorefest. It was aight. It was passable. Or which one? The first one where he shows up, or the second one where he like pulls a tuxedo mask and he I like my work here is done, but you didn't do anything with the fucking clones. Yes. I don't know, man. I feel like Fade needs to have more going on for him, especially because the way he shows up, it feels like they're setting him up to be a Gavan. I don't know why, but I get this weird inkling that either they're gonna make him a Gavan or he's gonna like engineer a way to become a Gavan. I don't know if that's gonna be necessarily the case. I don't know. But it feels like they're doing something with it because I feel like there's a reason why they're keeping him around. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe if I'm being honest, it felt like maybe like a plot compliance or something. I don't know, but I don't know why they keep Fade around. But honestly, I'm just hoping that like they do an episode with that. But I feel like if we're looking back at the scene from the first episode, there has to be another human Gavan. So unless Black Gavan like becomes a good guy again, I don't know like who that could be because we didn't see the Ant Gavan there. That doesn't mean he wasn't there. Obviously, it's just like you weren't thinking about him because you didn't think of an Ant Gavan to begin with. So odds are he probably was there, but since he's an ant, you didn't see him. But but we did see 5 different Gavans. So either the 5th one is Death Gavan, or there is another 5th one that will be introduced. But I just find it interesting that it's Kunai, he's the one that's doing the recruitment for the team. Which also adds the little wrinkle of how you're going to build a team when a lot of these guys can't even cross dimension hop. Because remember, their molecular buildup is what lets Kunai and Reiji travel through dimensions. If anyone without the particular molecular makeup goes to another dimension, they will start to disintegrate. So then how the fuck do you build a team? Especially if half of the team can't cross dimensions. You know? Like what does that be a thing? Watches? I don't know what watches would do. We give them watches. I mean that I mean work for Spider-Man. Which one? I mean maybe, but like I feel like if there would have to be a convoluted reason, but I feel like Agi-chan is supposed to be the convoluted reason, right? Like she's supposed to be the one that's supposed to be like the plot hole filler, right? Because Agi always just coincidentally knows what to do. Because the chief designed her that way. So to me, Agi-chan always feels like the bullshit answer. Or the bullshit excuse. So I feel like in some way, shape, or form, she's going to be involved with the bullshit way how these guys are now suddenly able to dimension hop freely. You know? Also, I would love to see the cases that Luminous and Bushido and Arkiva tackle on when Reiji's not there. You know, because I feel like as a Gavan, we can't just see these guys thriving when Reiji's there. You know? Like, we should be able to see these guys, like, just doing their own thing. But that's a personal thing. That's a me thing. But overall, this show, it just has this weird way of really doing the episodic, contained stories well. Though I feel like the fact that there isn't a little bit of lore, on one hand, kind of makes me mad. But on the other hand, also makes me realize that Zetsu has spoiled me. Have we seen the top head chief in charge? I mean, honestly, the way that it's shown, I feel like Karel is the main guy in charge, but only of the Earth division, of the main Earth division. I think I think, but as a different character. Here's the thing: every dimension has its own branch of the space sheriffs, but I don't think they answer to. I don't think they all answer to the same entity. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's a multi-dimensional. Um, I don't think there's a multi-dimensional like uh governing body that handles all of them. I think each universe just has space sheriffs, and they're all self-contained. Now, if there were to be a Gavan, like if there was to be like a main branch, then I feel like there's only one way you could do it. Planet Bird. And for those of you who don't know, Planet Bird was where the space sheriff base from the original Gavan was originally stationed. I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that if they do that, that the original Gavan is the leader. Right? I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that. Especially considering I think it makes sense because so no, he wouldn't be a different character. He would still be Gavan. He would be his original character. He just got promoted. Right? That's what I think. Like he would have risen the ranks from when he was a space sheriff to become like the leader of the space sheriffs. That's my thinking. But like as far as we know, there is no interdimensional branch of the space sheriffs because as far as we know, there's only two Gavans that can, well, three if you count Death Gavan, but of the people who are actually in the space sheriffs, there's only two that can dimension hop. And that's Infinity and Raya. So, and Raja. So, I don't think there's an overarching governing body of the multiversal space sheriffs. I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll bullshit an excuse. They'll bullshit a way into it. But I can't say I'm fully confident in it. But again, we'll find that out in the coming weeks because, like I said, this series is not going to run the full 50. It looks like it's going to be running at the most 30. So it's getting the old anime season treatment. Whether that means anything or it turns out to be anything in the long run, that remains to be seen. But the fact of the matter is, it just does a really good job of like giving us something to look forward to without actually telling a story. You know what I mean? Like, we're not here to tell a story. We're here to tell, like, actually, when you think about it, that does make sense because Project Red are records of extraordinary dimensions. So they're telling us kind of these stories, not in isolation, because obviously. Frick? Oh, you got ads? Sorry. Because necessarily, these stories are kind of self-contained, but not really. Because they're still connected by the through line of Gavan. Like, we only see these if Gavan Infinity is there. So, if Reiji isn't there, we don't really know these stories. Which is why I say it would be nice if they did show us what Luminous and Bushido and Arkiva and Reiji get up to when Reiji isn't there. It very much feels like it definitely feels very much like a Like, this story cannot revolve unless the main character is around. You know what I mean? Which I get is just the point since it is called Gav-on Infinity, but still, even if you give us maybe YouTube tidbits of what they do when Rage is not there, that would be nice. Or V Cinema it, or Tokusatsu Fan Club it, TTFC it, It would be nice if we could see Bushido, Luminous, and all the others thriving, living their lives without Reiji needing to be nearby. I think that would be very nice to see. I would love to see a Bushido V Cinema or a Luminous V Cinema of how they just go about a regular day on their universe's Earth, on their dimension's Earth. I'm not saying you need to start giving us spin-off seasons, but a little V Cinema would be nice, or a YouTube supplement. That'd be good. I think that would be the way to go. Just give us little tidbits showing us how a lot of these guys live their lives when Reiji ain't around. To me, that feels like would be an interesting watch, if I'm being perfectly honest. The question, though, we're now at the halfway point, right? I'm operating off of the speculation that we're only getting 25-ish episodes, right? 25, 26 episodes. That's what I heard. There was no fully confirmed number, but there's not a fully confirmed number, but the overarching consensus, considering that Omega Horn starts in June or July. No, July. Let me double check. Hold on. Where'd it go? July 26th is when Omega Horn starts, which is that's 2 months away. So, and we're on episode 12 right now. Today is the 3rd, but it's on Saturday. So if we're looking at that, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. It's 23 episodes. We're only getting 23 episodes of Gavan because Omega Horn starts on the 26th or the 25th in Japan. Actually, no, it would be the 25th for us. The 25th for us and the 26th in Japan. So that begs the question. That really begs the question, how are you going to get us to the big bad in only 23 episodes? Right? How do we get from point A to point B here? Because as we're standing, we're already past the halfway point. 23? 23 episodes? We're at episode 12. Episode 13 is next week. You only have 10 episodes to get us to the big bad, defeat the big bad. So you're building the team, and then we're just going to rush in. And the build-up right now doesn't even feel like we're going to face the big bad. It feels weird. Such a low count. I know, it's super weird. But it's saying right here, yeah, the new episode of Project Red, or the new season of Project Red, Awakening Hunter Omega Horn, starts July 26th at 9:30 a.m. So this series is only 23 episodes long. The studio had really? They had no faith in it? God damn. That sucks, because, freaking, I love this. I personally am enjoying. I'm personally enjoying Gavan. So to hear that that the studio has no faith in it. That's oof. All I can say to that is oof. Oh, by the way, interesting fact: the guy who played the bad guy in this episode, the guy who played the criminal in this episode, that was Kamen Rider Ibuki. You believe that? That was Kamen Rider Ibuki. Your friends are saying that. I know, but that's kind of. But if the studio said that, that's still a pretty damning indictment. You know? But, like, for the most part, I personally have been enjoying Gavan Infinity. They think the studio has no faith. Here's the thing. It's weird for them to say that when you look at this and then you look at Gozuger. I'm pretty sure the studio had no faith in Gozuger, which is why it went the way it did. I'm pretty sure they had at least some hopes for Gavan. Because remember, Project Red is to build an MCU. They're building a Tokusatsu cinematic universe, like a big crossover universe. That's the whole point. So if your first season, you already don't have any faith in it, at that point, what's the point of even doing it? And so I got to believe they have some faith. Though it's so crazy that I'm amazed that didn't click with me that was Kamen Rider Ibuki. Then again, I haven't watched Hibiki. Or better yet, I tried to watch Hibiki and no, I got 3 episodes in and deemed the absolute season to be trash. It was that bad. Because man, that is so hard to get into. That is so hard to get into. Everyone tells me, "Oh, it's better when they change director halfway through the season." And I'm like, "Bro, but that means I have to get through the shit first half of the season." And I'm like, "I'm not subjecting myself to that. It's trash. I'm not watching it. Move on." Also, there seems to be a Zetz lookalike in the next episode of Gavan Infinity next week. Though it would be funny if it is actually Baku and that's how they set up the crossover movie. That'd be fucking stellar. Actually, now that I think about it, wouldn't Kamen Rider also have to exist within that universe? Huh? I feel like they'd have to. Like it would make sense for them to. You know? Maybe that's why Zetz feels so radically different from previous Kamen Riders, you know? Maybe that's why. Maybe that was always the plan. Because if you guys don't know the story, apparently the people who worked on Gozuger found out that they were going to be the last season of Super Sentai like a month into Gozuger. So these guys knew about a year in advance that was the last season, and they still gave us absolute dog shit. Wild to think about. Wild. But yeah, anyway. I think Gavan Infinity is a great watch as long as you're not giving it high expectations. Like, it's on me for expecting to go in there and expecting to get lore. Like, I feel like Zetz might have rewired my brain a little bit. But because if you look at it in isolation, if you look at it for what it is, Gavan's a pretty damn good watch. But you're subconsciously putting it on a pedestal that Zetz has created and that no one's going to be able to reach because Zetz is just on another level. So if you turn off your brain, or maybe not turn off your brain, but if you tone down your brain and then watch Gavan Infinity for what it is, it's a pretty damn good watch. I just feel like maybe we as Toku fans have been spoiled by Zets. Like, I feel like Zets has like rewritten our brain chemistry to the point where I feel like if no other series can live up to it, Kamen Rider or not, it just immediately becomes trash. And that's kind of damning in a way. And I feel like it also gave Gavan Infinity kind of a bit of a mountain to climb. But then again, it's kind of not trying to because it knows it has a mountain to climb. And just focusing on what it can do good, which is the action, the aesthetic, the cinematography, and the characters. Because the characters are very endearing despite the fact that we don't really have a lot of backstory on them. You know? Like, when they caused, like, in this episode, when they caused Bushido to, like, remember that one lady, we still don't have any context on who that woman is. We still have no context on who she is. All we know is that we heard her speak to him once in a memory in the past. We still don't know who she is or what relation she has to him. So I ask, like, despite the fact that we barely know anything about any of the characters, even the main character, we barely know anything about Reiji. Outside of the fact that he looked up to Black Gavan when he was Gavan Destiny, and then he betrayed him, and then he betrayed everyone, and he killed his mentor. But, like, beyond that, like, Reiji's just kind of there. And also, if you look at the way he speaks, when he's in suit, it's weird. He starts talking in, like, metaphors and stuff like that. Like, always talking about how the sun is smiling upon you and things like that. Like, he's oddly spiritual in a weird way. Like, I can't piece it together. It's super weird. But even with what little we know about all these characters, we don't even know enough about Agi-chan and the Chief, or even Patlan and about Patlan and the other dude. I genuinely forgot his name. I just know it starts with a W. That's all I know. I forgot the dude's name. I'm so sorry. How did I forget that fucker's name? It's what something. Watashi, you think? Well, I don't know. But who are you? I'm you, but have better villain, but longer. I'm you, but better overall cast and shorter. Fuck off. Oh man. So ultimately, it's just this thing of like we don't even know like the backstory of Wanipat or Agi-chan or the Chief. We know a little bit about the friggin' to Bushido's like leader of sorts. We don't know anything about the space sheriffs of the Luminous Planet other than the two science people. The Ant Planet has only been brought up once. And of the space sheriffs of the Zeta universe, we only know about Reija and his chief. So like we are working with barely any knowledge of the characters at all, or their motivations and whatnot. Well, we know some of them. But we're working with very little information, and yet we're still getting a somewhat satisfying show out of it. So I don't hold that against Gavan in any way, shape, or form. I'm just feeling like, with only 23 episodes, they were kind of dealt a shit hand. But they got to work with what they got. So, it is what it is. So, I guess rather than take time to try to build backstories because they don't have time, you know what I was talking about? But Zeta would make a good Gavin. You should tell that to her. But here's the thing: is that like I guess it knew that it didn't have a lot of time to do anything, so instead it decided to instead just focus on the action. And it does that really fucking well. Like this show, when it comes to its fight scenes, its choreography, its cinematography, it's unmatched. So they just said, fuck it, we don't have time to tell backstories. We just need to get in and get out, establish these characters as in they exist, and get out because we got Omega Horn on the horizon. We literally have been dealt a shit hand in terms of how many episodes we get. Fuck it. We'll do what we can, and if we're lucky, maybe we can do a season 2 later on down the line. Which I'd have to believe is the hope. Because if these are going to be like, if Project Red is literally only going to be like 20 plus episode sagas, then there's definitely a way, there's definitely no reason to doubt that there wouldn't be a second season of Gavan Infinity. You know, like they definitely have to come back to it. So if they know that they're in the shit, if they know that they don't have a lot of episodes going for them, then the best thing they can do is like just do what they can and hope they get a second season. You know, I don't know if that's like in the cards for Project Red, but I feel like if you're gonna build an MCU, you have to come back to some, things. You know, like you can't just you can't just have one season of something and then just walk away and the character now exists. There has to be times where you come back to the characters, right? Like Captain America, like literally, like had the movie and then had the Civil War movie but it was a Captain America joint. So like you can easily come back to Gavan Infinity after its run. You can easily come back to it, make a season 2, which I hope they do. But we'll see what happens. We are now in the end game. As a matter of fact, as of this episode, we're in the end game because Ray has started building the team. Pretty much making it official that a team is going to be made. So we're nearing the end game. This is the weirdest end game I've ever witnessed. I'm gonna be real with you because there's not a lot of build to it. We just know there's an entity at the center of the universe that's fucking gaslighting people and shit. Now we got to build a team. That's where we are right now. So it's kind of weird, right? Like this is when we build the team and not at the start of the series. Now we're just building the team. Which again, not a lot of time to do it, but they're going to damn well try. And you know what? Best of luck to them. I don't know how they're going to do it, but you literally only have like 2 more months on the clock. So they got to make it count, Overall, I'm still enjoying the series. I know a lot of people are disenfranchised by it because it's not grabbing the attention. There's not a lot of lore going on, things like that. But I think for what it is, it's a damn good watch. It's an enjoyable watch. It's just like a feel-good watch. You just turn down the volume on your brain, just sit back, relax, and just watch the pretty colors as the cool chrome robots kick shit. Like that's what it is. The cool chrome armor people kick shit. That's what it is. But on that note, I think it is time to say adieu to you all. Let's go ahead and start wrapping things up. Who do I send y'all over on the Twitches to? Who do I send y'all over to? Let's see. Who's doing stuff? I'm going to go ahead and on the Twitch, and let me see if I can raid into him first. I've raided into him before, so I don't think it's an issue. All right, so if you're on Twitch, we're going to raid over into the Bone Caller, who's actually playing the Crooked Moon. For those who don't know, that's an excellent Legend of Adventures D&D expansion. So you should totally check that out. I'm actually very invested in Neon Odyssey, so I can't wait to see when that comes out. That's going to be dope. But it is here where I must bid you all adieu. So thank you all so much for coming to another episode of the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. I am, of course, your host with the most, the mercenary with the kicks, coming to you from 2286, call sign Henshin, reminding you that the future is in your hands alone. Only you can conquer it, so conquer it by any means necessary. I love y'all. Take care. I will see you all next week for more Gavan and Zet's shenanigans here on the Time Feed. Until then, I love you. Take it easy. Stay safe. Stay awesome. But overall, stay ready. Because you never know when you got a henshin, baby. I will see you all next time. Until then, peace out.